you have upped me along a sphere, a level. I'm not on 34 yet.
Like 4 and 9 are like critique levels, so I just jumped you up one because it's soon enough. It's a little different. Like the higher the spheres we get, I think like the less like the levels necessarily matter. But just because like if I put you at a 33, you'll be the only critique at 33 ever in the Arcanum, which might not be a bad thing.
No, I got you. That makes sense. I wasn't thinking like that.
So, okay, so we're talking about the book. What else are we talking about?
We're talking about the book, just a kind of a general catch up on stuff. How much work I've been doing. I'm not earning any money from, but still I've been doing, and I've been upping my Instagram as well. Not through that crowd thing though that you gave me, because they can't do it anymore. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did see that.
However,
Instagram's really, really picky about that. They really want content uploaded in real time, which I guess helps them stay true to their mission and their kind of feel. So, but
when you were, because you used to on that app be able to look at other people and get their followers.
Yep.
You can't do that now. Instagram has stopped all that. But I have found another company, and that's what I've been using, where they grow your audience organically. It's quite an interesting way of doing it. So you have to pay for it, but I don't know. I think they're on week 3 now, and I did 1 trial week with them, and then now I'm like on a subscription, which you can cancel at any time. And I started on 282 followers, and I now have 1,604.
Okay, so now here's the interesting. What's the name of the company? Let's start there.
Easy Grow Social.
Okay. And how much are you?
Oh, how much am I paying? I'm paying. So it was $14 for a week.
Okay.
And now I'm paying $36 for a month.
Okay.
And what you go on, Karen.
So here's my question to you is, while you're paying for this, because obviously your numbers are going up significantly. So if we look at just that, we go, great, it's working. Are you seeing a significant difference in the number of likes and comments that you're getting on your images?
Loads. Absolutely.
Good.
Loads.
Okay.
In fact, I wish I could find it. Let me see if I can find it while we're chatting. And also, so what you do is you tell them the people that you want to target. So like I said to them, I'm interested in interior designers, architects, people that like fine art photography and stuff like that. And then I gave them a few accounts, big accounts of people who I, would like their followers kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's, I don't know how they then plug that into whatever they've got. Because I'm sure it's not a person sitting there doing it, because that wouldn't make sense for them. But the people that have been, not everyone, of course you get people, and I think, well, I got one girl the other day who wanted to show her boobs and stuff. Clearly that's not interesting to me, but I've had loads of architects, other photographers, which I think is, always going to be normal. I think because I follow other photographers as well, they might not be target though.
That's good for you too, though, because you're building your teaching thing for your seminars. So potential photographers are potential clients for you as well.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just trying to see if I can find, because I've had loads of likes, something like, what did I tell him the other day? 11,000 likes or something.
Nice. Okay, good.
Yeah. I'll find it. I won't waste time on this, but I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But yeah, it has been, and comments and, really great comments, people saying that my work's great, they love it and stuff like that. So it's been quite interesting. I don't know how long I'll stay with them, because it's a rolling subscription, which you can cancel at any time. But
right. No, that's good. I think as long as you're paying attention to that, because I had somebody else do that in my foundation sphere early on when I started, and they were so proud of how many likes they jumped up, but they were empty likes, because they do have like click farms, like people that get paid to just go like things. Like they get a penny for every page they like. So they're making money off of it too, but they actually have no interest. So they'll go like 200 pages to make $2, or $10 and never go back to the page again. So if you're actually seeing comments and likes in their actual accounts, as long as you're doing your research beyond that, then I think that's great. But if you're getting a lot of basic things like great picture. Like I would just be paying very close attention to see if it's the same accounts saying the same exact thing. And if they're going on, like, go click on one of them that's commenting and just see what their other comments on other images are. Because if they're saying great picture on yours and then going to the next page and saying great picture with the same smileys and 100%, you know, but
I have to say, I haven't really had the same comments. It's all been things like, I really love your gallery, I really like your composition. You know, it has been, it's not all been like nice pic. I mean, yeah, there are ones where they just stick their thumbs up or, you know, just do all those emojis, which I don't know. But when I've looked at their accounts, they're all like photographers or they've all got good not all, let's say 95% of them have got good accounts. So I think, yeah, I think it is quite good. I wish I could find what they're and the analytics. That's not right. And analytics, but I can't see where it was.
Analytics, yeah.
But I'll find that anyway and see.
Well, there is some truth to the fact that, like, numbers beget numbers too. So it's much more likely that if someone comes across your page and they're interested in an image and see that you have 5 followers or see you have 5,000 followers, like, it's just a natural thing for them to go, oh, these guys must be good. They have a lot of followers. I'll follow too. So it's almost like that, like, group lemming mentality. I get that a lot. Like, I'm always having conversations with people about my Facebook page where they're like, oh, I want to have as many followers as you do on your fan page. Like, I did boudoir for 5 years. So 90% of my following is men between the ages of 25 and 45 that will never buy a boudoir session. Yeah. And I don't want to know why they're interested in following my photos, but, you know, 90% of them are not potential clients. So I'd rather have 5,000 followers that are potential buyers, you know, than 30,000. But it's a numbers thing. Everybody else looks at it and goes, wow, you're doing really good. And they usually don't look deeper than that. So I'm glad if this is working for you and it's jumping you up by 1,000 followers in a week or two, and they're good quality followers in your interest levels, I think that's totally worth the investment money.
Yeah, I mean, there are other artists. Yeah, so what's it gone up by? Yeah, 1,300, which is 1,301 actually. It's just gone up again. So yeah, they do see, like, the work. Some of the people that are following me, I go and look at their work, and you know, their work's amazing as well, kind of thing. Yeah.
Send me a link to them because I'm curious to look them up. I haven't heard of them yet. That's good though.
Can I do it in the comment tracker?
You can, but it might be worth it to actually just post it in our cohort too. So if anybody else wants to look up, I know Ray was really looking to build his Instagram following. Yeah. That might be a bit for him.
Okay, so, I'll post it in there. Let me write that down. Post. Easy. Yeah, so that was one thing which has been quite good. And what else? I kind of been working on a few things. So obviously Adfectus, which has gone to the printer. So, and
how do you feel about that?
I'm really excited, but I don't want to get too excited. I think, oh God, if I see it in print and it looks a bit shit, then I'll be really. So I spoke with 3 printers and got them to send me. 2 of them sent me samples, and 1 I didn't like. You know, the lines weren't straight when they'd folded over the front cover and stuff like that. Things like that really annoy me. And another guy gave me a really high quote. I was determined that I wanted it to be a hard cover. I didn't want it to be a soft cover. And he gave me like a quote, it was like £80 per book, which was ridiculous. Like an A5. And then I found this other printer, and when I sent him an email, the first thing he'd said to me was, oh my God, I really love your work. You know, your work reminds me. And he said it reminded him of this. It's called Fortitude. It's a TV program that's set in Iceland and stuff, and it's beautiful cinematography. So I like the fact that I'm working with someone that really likes my work as well. Yeah. And they
it makes a big difference when they get it.
Yeah. And he's, you know, he's kind of guided me a bit because I'm a bit, you know, I've never used InDesign before, so I've done it all in design, and I think everything works. And when I sent it to him the other day, he just said, oh my God, your photos are so good. And I really love this photo and I really love that. Now he would have had to go through the whole book to find the titles of those photos because they're at the back. So I think he really has kind of like looked through it and everything. So yeah, hopefully, let's see. I mean, I should get it next week. Only 1 copy, which then I'm going to send out to a few people to review it because I thought that would help with the Kickstarter project.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should do an unboxing on social media too. Like go live on your Facebook page or something when it gets there, and open it so that people can go online and watch you open your very first print copy of your first book.
But not the text. If it's shit, then they're just going to see that it's shit. I will not be able to hide my disappointment.
I don't think you'll be disappointed. And it's a test copy, so it's okay for you to say that and let people be part of the process with you.
Yeah.
You know, like if you watch or follow like the Reliquarian, like I have photos and video footage of me breaking sculptures and going, this is not working, and all of the failures, and people identify with that too because it makes them feel better and it preps them. So if you have other photographers and people following that are like, someday I'd like to do a book, you know, then they're like, oh yeah, I remember when I followed Sandra and she went through that too, like her first copy she didn't like, you know. So you can be like, those are all things to look at. And, you know, really for me, like if you went online and you opened it and you were like, oh, these lines aren't even, or I don't like the binding, this is really crap, I'm really disappointed right now, then that tells me that when you do have the book, that it's going to be excellent because you have the need to have it be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all about.
I do get that. I haven't done Facebook Live yet. I'm not great on the camera. So I'll have to have a think about that. That might push me too far out of my comfort zone. And you have already pushed me far. So you can't. That's it. That's your level. You've got to do that. Otherwise you don't pass. That's not happening.
I mean, I can do that. That sounds good since I haven't written the rest of your sphere that.
No. I have to think about it. I mean, it's bad enough that I have to do a video for Kickstarter. That's bad enough.
Yeah. Well, you know, going with the idea of sending it out to a couple of other people to review, maybe that's part of the review process, is having them unbox it and go through and video it. That way you could take those videos and part of your Kickstarter could be other people looking at your book and reviewing your book.
That is a great idea. They can be on camera.
You know, and you know how books and movies, like they'll include like the little quotes and blurbs from other people, you know, like the critics and stuff, like, oh, it's the best ever, you know, best movie of the summer kind of thing, or action packed and full of great CGI, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. I would look at 5 or 10 people, like don't just send it to people, just send it to them. Send it to either other photographers in your genre that are above and beyond where you are, someone that will be worthy of being a testimonial, that people are like, oh, so-and-so reviewed her book kind of thing. Yeah. But I would also think outside the box, like maybe instead of just photographers, what about an architect for some of the buildings? Or what about like a travel company, like a travel agent kind of thing?
I've thought of one of the people that I've asked is a yoga teacher, because I thought from the emotional side.
Perfect.
You know, so she's going to do it. Then I've got a TV producer. So from Channel 4, it's like a big TV channel here. So he's going to, and it's a boy as well, which I thought was quite good. I don't want it all to be reviewed by girls. I have got a photography friend who said he'd like to have a look at it. So I might ask him to review it. I love his work. And then I've got this person in America who's my mentor in the Arcanum, and I'd quite like her to review it. Would you?
I would love to write you a review, absolutely.
I didn't want to put you on the spot, but what I'd do is probably just get them to do it here and then send it out to you.
Yeah.
Got to see it. But don't
be my privilege. No. I told you I want to buy the first copy. As soon as it goes live, I'm gonna be your first supporter. I want it on my bookshelf here. I have a beautiful bookshelf, and it's only like my first editions and signed copies. Like I've got space on it for your book when it comes. So
perfect. Oh, well, that would be amazing. I'd love you to review it. That would be incredible, because then also that brings in, like, you know, you as a mentor and a photographer as well. So then I have a male photographer. I have you, who so many people look up to. I might also, I'm seeing her on Monday, the woman, that the gallery owner that I'm.
That's a great idea.
If she will do it. I mean, she's very well connected over here. It's quite a coup to have, you know, for her to sign me, kind of thing.
I know. I'm really excited for you when you messaged and told me you got her.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following her for a while, And yeah, she's pretty amazing, and I think she's really good. At the moment though, she only wants to launch with all the hidden beauty stuff, so I'll ask her about the book and see what she thinks. But she may say, look, I want it, because she wants to do a book with hidden beauty. So the architect.
Well, consider this. It is very common to hear the phrase your 15 minutes of fame, because that's all most people get. The reason that most people get 15 minutes of fame is because they don't have the next project yet.
Okay.
So you go and you get your 15 minutes of fame, and all of a sudden it catches, it goes viral or whatever, and everybody's buying, and you have all of their attention and you're pushing that project. And then you go, oh, okay, I guess I better start working on the next book, the next project, the next thing that I'm doing. And while you go to do that, somebody else goes, hey, I have this great thing. So then all your crowd kind of drifts over here to see what it's doing. You see it at trade floors all the time. Like when you go to the expos, like they have the speakers, the next speaker is on immediately after. Like they are standing on the side, because if you take a 15-minute break, everybody that's gathered around that post will go to the competitor. They'll go from the Canon stage to the Nikon stage. So you have to have constant contact. So when you're doing that, you should absolutely have the next project. So one of the things that I would definitely be thinking about is putting a blurb about hidden beauty being your next book and how they can follow that project next, that goes in with the sale of every single book. I actually did that with the Reliquarian, where the last page of my Artistic Seductions book is like the first couple, like the first 2 paragraphs of the Reliquarian storyline.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea. Next, but okay.
So having her review it for Defectus and push that is just going to get people introduced to you now, so that when she starts pushing hidden beauty, they've already heard your name.
Yeah, good idea.
And that is how you present it to her.
Okay, perfect. I'm seeing her on Monday, so I'll talk about that to her as well. And then so the idea is, I didn't realize we were live. I said anything really personal.
That's okay.
And then the other thing is, to do the Kickstarter, which I have no experience of whatsoever. So it's been a bit of a learning, or it will be a bit of a learning experience for me.
Are you familiar with Jeremy Cohart?
Oh, the hotel that you posted. What an amazing idea. Yeah. What an absolutely fabulous idea.
So he's running his Kickstarter right now for the hotel. Trey Ratcliffe is running another one for the Peak Design bags. I'm not sure if that ended yet, but I think it's still going on. Those are 2 very, very successful ones right now. If you go and actually search in Kickstarter, like when you get in there and search projects, look up either my name or look up Artistic Seductions, and you'll see the Kickstarter for my book. When I did mine a couple of years ago, it should still be in the archives. Or drop me like a text after this, and I'll go. Actually, let me just go hop in and see if I can pull it up right now.
I did start looking at the other projects on there, and I started looking at what day is, doing a bit of research, like what day is the best day to post, what, to start it, what's the best time length. So I have been doing a little bit. I need to do a bit more research on that, I think, as well. But it's just quite interesting. It seems that everyone says that Tuesday and Wednesday are the best days to launch a project. I don't know why.
I mean, I guess I don't really think that it's that essential. I haven't seen too much of a difference. I don't even know what day I started mine on, actually.
I found
you found it? Okay, great. Then I don't have to send it. So I would say that shorter is better in terms of time. Like, I think they do it like up to 60 days. I would say 30 to 45, depending on how much. Have you figured out how much you want to raise?
Yeah, I did that. I posted it in the, I think it's like £1,250. So in my mind.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, in my mind, I thought, okay, I'm going to do 100 copies. And to get those 100 copies and to make a bit of profit, I need £1,250. That includes the fees for Kickstarter, and I think that includes everything. So I did all the things, and then I think it was now someone in the group, who is it, Hans in the group?
Probably, he's pretty active.
Yes, so he had said God, why are you only doing 100? Why aren't you doing 1,000? Why aren't you doing 2,000 or something like that, and make it a bigger thing? And so I looked at that, and I've got quotes for 500. I've got quotes for 1,000. Obviously, it brings the price of the book down, like the printing of the book, quite substantially. And equally, I don't think I need to make that decision yet, do I, as to how many I print? Or do I say this is going to be a limited edition of?
It depends on how much are you planning on charging per book?
£20.
That's pretty standard for like a hardcover.
Yeah, it's an A5 hardcover. It'll be 70 pages of text and photos. It has 30 photos in it.
Okay.
Next.
So if you go to the bookstore by you, because I don't think it varies that much. We're pretty similar in terms of culture and pricing, I think. But if you go to your local bookstore to look for a hardcover, really, like it qualifies as a coffee table book. You know, like it's a fine art book. So if you go and look for a book that's similar to that size hardcover, you know, that kind of content, is that around the price that you would pay in a bookstore?
Yeah, it varies. I mean, that makes $26, by the way. £20. It varies. There are some that are that price. There are some that are a bit cheaper, you know, like $16.99, and then there are some that are more expensive, sort of like $25, $29. I've kind of priced it where I've asked a lot of people as well, when they've seen the original dummy book that I did, what they would pay for it and what they would pay as a gift as well, because I do think it's something that could be given as a gift to, you know, a friend if they're having a bit of a hard time, or just if they want to just, you know, look at some, well, hopefully nice photography. So, and they kind of said £20 as well is what they would spend without thinking too much about it. So that's sort of like quite a good price.
How much does the cost come out per book for you? What's the investment price for you?
£8.94, so £9.
Okay, so you're making a decent profit off of them then.
Yeah, so that profit is basically, I guess, my profit and the money it pays me back on my time.
Yeah, I would say at the size and the price that you're at, that you actually got a really good deal too. Well, yours is significantly smaller than mine though. Like mine was 11 by 13. My book is huge, which is part of why, and it's full bleed color on every page. So I basically made it as expensive as I could possibly make it.
Okay, but this is the size. That's a pen. You know, it's small, so it's kind of, you know, I didn't want to go bigger. I wanted to make it quite personal.
No, I like it. It's a great gift option. I wouldn't do it as a limited edition. What I would do though is the first 100 copies that you know that you're going to print, I would do them on the Kickstarter as a signed edition.
Excellent.
So personally sign everyone for the first 100 people that buy. That's also a buy it now lever, because if you're only signing the first 100, then you're encouraging people to buy and invest now rather than going, oh, maybe I'll support her, but I'll probably do it towards the end of the month, or I'll do it then. But if it's going to sell real quickly and they're not going to be signed, you know, collectors and people that have books, it means more to have it signed.
Yes.
You know.
Great idea.
Also, I would say that you then have the option to look at a traditional publisher, because if you can do this Kickstarter, sell all 100 of them at a decent rate by yourself without any outside influence, that gives you a lot more leeway to go look at an agent or a publisher and go, look, I've already sold 100 copies. You can have the rights to the second printing and handle it for me. And then they just send you royalty checks. And I got to tell you, there's benefits to both. So yeah. I hated working with a publisher from the artist standpoint, because they changed my title, they changed the layout, you know, like mine is an 11 by 13 landscape bound color to color. Well, they looked at that and went, could you have made this any more expensive to print? You know, and so they did white pages. Like all of my pages are fully colored edge to edge, and they complement the colors of whatever's in the image.
Right.
So they didn't do that. It's just white and it has the picture and it looks like a standard book.
Yeah.
but they took the printing costs down from, I think it was like $13.95 a copy to $2.36 a copy.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so that was their thing, was to maximize profit.
Sure.
Now, on the upside, even though like the limited edition was $13, but I sold them for $125. So I am obviously making a ton more money when a book sells, because I'm not paying the publisher. I'm not selling them at a discount to the bookstore. Like, they buy them directly from me. So I make, if I sell them at full price, I make like almost $110 worth of profit off of every single book. But with the publisher doing it, even at that lower rate, and I think they sell them for about what you're selling. It's like $27.95, I think is the price. So the way that the agency works, or when you work with a publisher, is the publisher has the rights to the book. So the publisher will set like the retail value. So we'll say they set it at $10 a book. They sell it to the bookstores at a 40 to 60% discount. So the bookstore, if it's $10, they're only paying $4 to $6 to buy it. And then they mark it back up to that $10 to sell to their people, and that's how they make their profit. Mm-hmm. You only make money off of what the publisher sells it for. So if the publisher sells it to the bookstore for $4 and you get a 25% royalty, you're making $1 off of that $27 book. You know, so that's where you look at it and you go, oh my God, I'm making $1 off of a, you know, a $25 book kind of thing. So I think with mine at 27, I make like $2.80 or something per book or something. But they have it in every major bookstore. It's in several different countries, and it sells thousands of copies. So I would have to sell, for me, selling 200 copies of my book myself at the higher rate, having to sign them, package them, ship them, and drop them off for a much higher profit margin. People would go, oh yeah, I would do that because you're making $110 a book as opposed to $2 a book. But I sold about 200 of them at the start of the Kickstarter. And in the first year that the publisher had it, they sold 20,000.
Wow. Okay.
So I actually made more money in the 6 months, because I get royalty checks every 6 months from them. So I made more money with the royalty checks from them than I did doing all of the work myself.
All the work yourself. Okay.
But it was worth it to me to have that limited edition, because it was the way I had designed it. So if I took your book and Frankensteined it, and now I made it vertical and I changed all your layouts and was like, oh, this quote doesn't really work, we'll change this. Like, they ghost wrote it for me because I write too advanced, and they're like, people can't understand what you say. We had to dumb it down. Because I'm too flowery and I use too many adjectives. Like, you know, agents and publishers and editors, they hate me because of the way I write.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't bother you to give up creative licensing, and if you don't feel like you're selling out doing that and you're okay handing it off, then you can do that. But the nice thing is that doing it this way, you'll have both. So you'll have the first, and it may end up being essentially a first edition or a limited edition, because you can decide then if you want to go through that. Do you really want to ship out 100 copies of your book? You know, do you want to take the time to go to the post and send them all out? Do you want to sign them all? Do you want to, you know, do you want that headache? Do you want boxes of books in your thing? Like my husband, I had 1,000 copies of the book. So there was literally 3,000 pounds of book in his garage when he got home from Afghanistan. And I think he thought about going back, you know, in his workshop, because it was just flats of books that were like as tall as I was to do them. And there were just boxes everywhere. My kids were making forts with them. 100 is significantly less than 1,000. So that might be a little less overwhelming. But like you said, if you ordered 1,000 copies of the book, the cost per book goes dramatically down.
Well, it's half price.
Yeah. So when I was looking at it, just from 500 copies to 1,000, I think 500 copies was like $49 a book, and 1,000 brought it down to 13.
Yeah. It makes it.
So it was more than double the profit.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
So,
I mean, I suppose the way I'm doing it is because I'm not having to, I don't have to tell him now, I don't have to tell the printer now how many I'm going to do, because it would be dependent on when the Kickstarter finishes. But I know it'll be at least 100, because that's what I would put down, because Kickstarter's all or nothing, isn't it? So if I don't get that £1,250, then it's not going to happen.
Well, and that's the other question. Like, if you got half the money, would you come up with the rest of the money yourself in order to do it? Because you can always sell the books later. Like, I'm still selling copies of that first limited edition that I did 2 years ago.
If I got, if I had on Kickstarter, if I had 50 people pay the, say they wanted it and pledge it, so that was only half of it, then yes, because that actually would cover my printing costs.
Yeah, so something else that you might want to look into, Kickstarter's all or nothing. Yeah. Kickstarter works great for like Jeremy's project at hotel right now. I know I haven't looked today, but he's up over $200,000 in the first 48 hours, right? Sounds like a ton of money. How thrilled would you be if you got $200,000 worth of orders for your book? You'd fall over. $200,000 though is equivalent in what he's trying to raise for a chain of hotels. And he's only raising like $2 million. He's just raising enough to go to the banks and go, hey, finance this. Yeah. That would be essentially like somebody going, I invested $5 in you. So why haven't you printed the books when you need 1,250?
Sure.
So it's a percentage thing. So if you can come up with the money yourself, or if you only need half of it and you want to make the gamble that you can get at least half that money, then it might benefit you to look at Indiegogo or some of the others. Because I'm pretty sure, I haven't done one on Indiegogo, but if I remember correctly, Indiegogo lets you keep whatever money you raise, whether you reach your goal or not. So you can say $1,250, and whether you raise $1,250, $900, or $10, you keep that money at the end of it.
Okay.
The problem is, and I think Indiegogo lets you decide whether you're going to keep it or not too. Like, I think you can decide to just refund it and go, no, we didn't raise enough money. Because $200,000 is a lot of money for Jeremy, but it's not enough for him to build the hotel if that's all he gets. So even though it's a ton of money, like, people would be like, well, I donated, where's the hotel? He can't do it. Like, he just physically can't do it. And a lot of the projects are like that. So it may be the same for you. So if you can look at it and go, okay, if I at least reach 600 pounds, I can come up with the other 650 to send it to the printer. But if I don't at least hit that mark, I can't come up with the rest of the money. Then you know that that's your mark, and you can decide if you want to refund it or not and come out yourself. So if you can put that money in now, knowing that once the books come in that you'll make that back later, that's fine. But if you just can't come up with the capital, so they each have their benefits, like, to both.
Look at that. Yeah. I mean, I could come up until I've got savings, so I could. It just depends on, I guess it goes back to whether there's enough confidence that people are going to want to buy it. So right. I have the money to pay the printers, but I don't want to waste that money because, I'm not working at the moment. So it's like, if I really thought that the book would absolutely sell, then yeah, I would just go ahead and do it probably.
Yeah. So that's your choice on the gamble you want to take. Like, if you do it on Kickstarter, then you're pretty much banking on the idea that you're going to be able to sell at least 100 copies of it to make cost and profit. Mine, for me, what I wanted to raise was $12,000. That would have covered the entire price for all of the books. But I had to make at least $7,000 to come up with the full amount. So I set it at $7,000 because I knew if I made $7,000 that I would have enough money to pay for all the books. That was the bare minimum cost. So if you're pricing them at $26 or 26 pounds a copy, but they're only costing you 10 to get them done, then you would only need 1,000.
Yeah. I'd only need
break even.
600 quid or something. I'd only need to do a starter. So that break, okay, that's a really good point.
So you can set it at the minimum to know that you're going to break even, that they're going to pay for themselves. You won't make any profit off of it, but they'll have paid for themselves, which will only be half the books anyway, because they're still paying 26 pounds a book.
Yeah.
But you only have to sell half as many to make back what you're going to invest in the books. Then everything after that is profit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. I suppose I just got to work out is, do I sell 100 books straight off, or do I think that I won't? I guess that's the thing, isn't it?
No, I would absolutely still have all 100 books available, or have it be, personally, I think the best way to go about it is 100 books is the minimum that you're going to sign. So you're doing the Kickstarter so that everybody that buys can buy a limited signed edition copy. Now that's the kind of option too that you can set them at a discounted rate, because a lot of times on Kickstarter people invest because they get it at a discount. So if you're going to sell them for 26 and that's what the price is going to be, or you're going to up it to 30, you know, them being able to pick them up at say 20 is a good reason for them to buy it now, because essentially it's a sale.
Sure.
So you have the cost. So you could set it at 20 for anybody that's going to buy, assuming you're paying, you know, 10 pounds a book, that's your cost. 20 is still enough for you to break a profit and double the money. 26 is what they're going to retail at. $30 would, or 30 pounds would be the price that you would put it at if they wanted to buy a signed first edition.
Well, in the Kickstarter, no, you'd keep it as 20.
You could do it as both.
Okay, so it would be a certain fee. So it would be like $20, just say dollars because it's easier. So it would be $20 for a normal book and like the $25 for a signed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can do it either way. So if you say, so if I'm doing the Kickstarter, let's say it costs you $10 to get the book printed. $10 is your price that's coming out of pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Going to sell these for $26 after the Kickstarter. However, if you buy them now, there are 50 copies available for $20 instead of 26. So you save $6 off of it. I also have 50 copies that are the signed first editions that are being sold for 30 that will be sold for 50 afterwards, because your name on it makes it more valuable.
Got you. I've got it.
Okay. So then that puts you at a couple of different price points. So people that really want a signed copy because they love you and nepotism's kicking in because they're such a proud mentor and they're so proud of how far you've gone and they have to have a signed copy, they'll go and invest more money, which gets you to your goal quicker. Okay. Other people that want one and want to support or just think it's a great book can buy it at a discount price. So you have your people that are buying it because of cost, because that's a big lever. And you have your people that are buying for the sake of the art, because that's a lever. And you have the people that are buying it because it's yours, because it's signed by you and your name on it makes it more valuable than if it isn't. And there's different price points for those. And then, you know, do you always have a lower one too? So I know, are you familiar with Kirsty Mitchell?
Yes.
Have I said? So she, if you go look, if you have a copy, I have a copy of her Wonderland book. Anybody that bought I think the first 1,000 people that bought the book were put in the book as a dedication page as people that had sponsored the book. So there's just, and it's literally just name. But there's like 3 pages in the dedications, like, you know, it's to her husband and her publisher and her printer and whoever else she wanted to dedicate it to. And then the next 2 pages are just all the people that helped finance the book. Okay. So now everybody that has a copy of it has a copy of it with, you know, so-and-so's name in it. And you can decide how many people get that. So that's something that a lot of people do with little amounts of money. Like if you donate, you know, $10, you know, your name will go in the book as a benefactor. Or if you don't want to necessarily put it in the book, on your website, you know, I will, you know, people love shout outs. Like every time I go live, there's someone that gets on Facebook and is like, say my name. And it always makes me laugh. Like, say hi, George. Like, and that's it. That's all they want you to do is acknowledge their existence because they follow you. And it's really silly, but it matters to them because it's like out of, you know, the hundreds, and the more popular a person is, the more people do that. Like, it always makes me laugh because when you go on celebrity pages that have like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, they like, especially kids, like a younger generation, but people that have nothing to do but spend time on social media, they race to be the first person to comment. They get notifications whenever a page posts and they're like, first. That's all they do. They just write the word first because they were the first comment out of what will be hundreds of thousands of comments, you know? And it's like, it's this little like ego thing of theirs that puts them at the first of the page so other people see their name and it's borrowed credibility and stuff like that. So little things like you'll get a thank you on Twitter, you know, or, you know, in the dedication page or on the website or stuff is just this little like notoriety thing that says you're important too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. I need to definitely think of, what I want to offer. Because before we started this conversation, I only had a book. But, you've split it into a book, buy early, save, a signed edition, and like a dedicate, there's different, you've already given me 3 different ideas.
Yeah, and it's all the same product. That's a beautiful thing about it. So it's no more work for you and no more investment for you. Because like we had talked about you doing like the postcards, that's an additional investment for you. So if you do like a collection of like 10 limited edition fine art postcards that you send them, then you have to take into account the price of that too. So you can't price that at $10 if it's costing you $10, because then none of the money is going towards financing the book.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a couple of those. Like if I did another Kickstarter, I would definitely throw in copies of my limited edition book as something they could get as a gift now, because it's already paid for itself. So anything I make is profit.
Okay.
So I can take that and put that towards. But I couldn't do that with, say, prints, because I have to pay to go get them printed. Yeah. So then I'm cutting into the profit that's actually financing the project. So that's the trade-off. So the idea is to stretch it where it's still suiting what people want and need, with making the minimal amount of time, energy, and money investment for you on the other side of it, so that you can concentrate on this project. Because the overall goal is to put this book in print.
Yeah. And would you because I was also thinking of doing an option whereby they had a book and one of the greetings cards as one of the prints and the quote that they like, but of course they won't know that until they've seen the book. So,
I would definitely put a couple of pages up. Like you can select it. Like when Kirsty did her Kickstarter, one of the higher ones was like the limited edition book plus 3 limited edition prints. And I think they were 11 by 14.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a selection of 6 of her prints that she pre-chose, that you could pick 1 or 2 or 3 of them based on how much you invested. So maybe what you do is you pick your 6 or how many images are in the book? 30?
30.
Yeah. So maybe you pick your favorite 3 to 10, somewhere in that range, pick your favorites that you want everybody to be sharing.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I would take the pages then, and I would put them up in the Kickstarter so that people can see, like, when you go on Amazon, it's like search inside this book. So pick a couple of pages to feature and go, this is what the book is. And these are the limited edition prints. And then those would also be the first ones that I would put out on social media that people can share.
Okay.
And that's the other thing to think of, especially if you're getting a lot of followers on Instagram, we were talking about earlier. Putting those images on Instagram and creating your own hashtag, whether that's adfectus or, your own little catchphrase or your name or something, and having people share it with their favorite quote.
Mm-hmm.
What is your life motto? What is your mantra? Your favorite quote? Ask them a question, something they can answer. Hashtag adfectus for a chance to win a book. And you'll send out 1 complimentary one, like set aside the last 10 to be given away for free, because then they're sharing it to their social media for you, and it's not costing you anything besides, the cost of 1 book to get all that marketing.
Good idea. Another good idea.
Yeah.
So what do I do in terms of, because I presume, like, I don't know if you saw that, no, you did see the timing plan, but because I'm on holiday from the 1st to the 11th of September, I wasn't going to do any sort of massive marketing before then, or should I do like a little drip thing to get people interested?
I would say, what social media do you spend the most time on?
Instagram. But my Instagram posts out automatically to my Facebook page and my Twitter.
Can you set, I know Instagram's tough to set like advanced posts. Can you do that while you're on holiday so that it's not actually you posting it?
Through Latergram. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Then I would set it up and I would pick, I think like 9 or 10's like a good number, or 7 is a full week. you know, but I would pick the images, maybe the ones that you're going to give away as limited edition prints. And I would share them, and I would assign each of them a question and pick your hashtag. Effectus is a great one. You can just use the title, or, you know, you can use a motto. Like, that was something that Jeremy did really well. Like, the Purpose Hotel doesn't grab as much attention as My Purpose is. So his address, his web address is My Purpose is, and then it goes into the Purpose Hotel and it asks people, what's your purpose? So right now on social media, all his followers are creating profile photos that say what their purpose is. My purpose is, and then it has their answer, and then hashtag My Purpose is, and the website My Purpose is, so that people are like, oh, what is this? You know, because it sounds more intriguing than the Purpose Hotel. One is a question. The other one is not. Questions always receive more answers because it becomes about them.
Yep.
So if you put Infectus or Infectus book, that's about you and your book. If you put what's your mantra, that's about them.
Yeah.
You know, and they're more likely to identify with that then.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I would pick, you know, you could do topics too, like what's your mantra for love? You know, what's your love mantra? What's your love motto? What's your relationship goals? You know, like if you can play off of other things that already exist, that's even better. You know, relationship, family, career, those are the three big ones. You know, personal, spiritual, mental, emotional, you know, like all of the things that your book is about, finding a way to tie that into a question they can answer. And then they just share the image with the hashtag in their answer, and you pick the one that you like at the end of each day, because you can go into Instagram and then just search the hashtag and see all the answers. You know, Instagram is very photo related, so maybe it's not your photo, it's just the hashtag with their photo. Like, photograph what your love mantra is. And maybe for some people it's like a picture of their kids or their dog. And for other people it's, you know, it's an image like yours, and they'll share, you know, they'll share like the phone booth photo or something else that they're doing, you know.
A lot of thought, doesn't it? I mean, it's thinking outside the box, isn't it?
Yeah. What you're doing is you're not selling, because that never works. There's too many people marketing and adding to them. But if you're asking them to know them, they're more likely to respond, because it's the difference between going, here I am, and there you are.
Yeah.
So when you say there you are, then people feel like it's about them, and they're more likely to open up and be receptive because somebody is saying that they're interested in knowing them. You know, so it's like,
the book is about them. It's not, I mean, it is a story, but it is about them, and, you know, making them think about their stories. That's the kind of idea. So
yeah. And you can very easily share the image and share the quote, and then go, you know, where are you in this quote? What is this quote to you?
Yes.
You know, and they'll come back to it and go, oh, well, that totally fits me because.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, so it may be that their mantras are your actual quotes, which are attached to your images. So if you shared 10 of them and said, which one's you, like a poll, which is, that'd be a good one too. You can go to BuzzFeed, like, you know, all those BuzzFeed videos, like, you know, which Game of Thrones character are you, or which 90s cartoon are you? You can do that. You can create one of those yourself. Which mantra are you? Which Infectus book mantra are you? And those are likely to go viral. You know, like, you have your friends, I guarantee everybody has one that their entire newsfeed is just quiz after quiz after quiz. Like, because you get on the train and it's like, now that you discovered which 90s character are you, let's see what 80s cartoon hairband you were, you know, like.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do one where the images are your images and the answers are your quotes, and everybody takes which Infectus image are you.
God, I didn't even know that you could do that. That sounds like
those are all personal made. Most people don't know that. They think like BuzzFeed is like this company that has like interns that create them. No, you can go create them yourself.
I have no idea. I love that idea.
Yeah, look up, just Google like make BuzzFeed quiz.
Such a great idea. Gosh, I've got a lot of work.
And then it's honestly, then it's marketing disguised as mindless social media activity. Like it doesn't even come off as marketing in that point.
Yeah, I do like that way actually, because I'm not really good at pushing. I don't want to be a pushy salesperson. I mean, I don't do that with my work either. So actually, I kind of really like that, and I really enjoy what people say as well. I mean, I'm into it. So, you know, almost like the book is slightly backstage.
Yep.
Do you
and
think
then that'll give you a good idea too of which images should be limited edition prints or part of the postcard? Because if you find that 86% of people are connecting with a certain image, that's the one that you push. That's the one that's going to sell in galleries. That's the one that should be the head of the, you know, the website portfolio. Like those are the ones, that's the one you can charge double the price for.
Yeah, good idea. God, you've given me lots to think about. So on that basis, do you think my timing is, you know, I'm hoping to start the project at the beginning of October.
I don't think that's a bad time frame. You're done the book. It's ready to go to the printers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say if you have the copy right now to start sending out to people.
No, that's coming back next week.
Okay. I would say based on when you get that back, you know, and that's the trade-off too. Like if there are people that you have a really good relationship with, because honestly, I've seen the book, at least in digital. I can write you a review on the book right now. I don't have to have the physical copy of the test print to do that. So if these other people that you're asking to review are good friends, all they're looking at is the book itself as the whole. You know, you can always give them a copy afterwards if you want them to have one to thank them, but you can send out the digital one too. That is definitely something that I would look into as well. If you're not doing a limited edition thing, which I don't necessarily think that you have to for this one, look at making it an ebook as well and offering that as a lower price in the Kickstarter that people can buy. So they can still have a copy of it, you know. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it there as well, because even if it isn't an ebook, it may be like one page gets sent to them. Like they could buy it, they could come in on a subscription basis where they get a new mantra sent to them every day or every week, which kind of goes into like at the beginning of your sphere too. We were talking about oracle cards. You know, it's the same kind of thing. It's like their fortune cookie, their thought of the day kind of thing that comes into their inbox or their social media or whatever. They get tagged in on Instagram or something like that, just to give them a start to their day. I like that. But there's a lot of digital ways that you could do that too.
I do like that actually, because that's 30 images, so 30 days. That kind of works quite nicely. I like that. 30. So the Kickstarter project should be 30 days as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. I do like that. Email. Oh gosh, I've got so much to think about.
I would say your priorities are, the only problem that you might have a hard time with is if you're not getting the book for another week or two and you want to send out the book for reviews, getting it to all of them may take a month. Because you're also taking into consideration, even if they're motivated, like if they just lose track of time and don't get to read it or review it and they keep the book for 2 to 3 weeks, and you're mailing and it's a couple of days back and forth, you know, with post and stuff like that. If you get it back, do not send out your only copy of your book either.
I've only got one copy.
You know? Yeah, that's, you know, I mean, unless you can really trust these people to send it out, but you know, whether it's just them being, you know, losing track of time or distance, or they're, you know, they're procrastinating or whatever, or they just don't feel like mailing it out. If that's your only copy, then that's your only copy.
Yeah,
so you're trusting it in the hands of someone else.
I've picked people that are London based, so I can actually drive the copy to them and pick it up.
That's much better.
And what I was going to do was contact them all beforehand and say, right, what days are good for you? Because this all needs to be done within a couple of weeks. So you tell me what's good and I will deliver it at that time and I will pick it up at that time, and then it will be going to the next person. So I think I would do it beforehand so they know that they've only got like a couple of days with it.
And I would message them and ask if they would prefer to have a digital copy that they can look over at their convenience. Because if you save it as a PDF, they can get it on their phone, their social media, you know, like their email, whatever they want. Or if you make it a Google Drive folder, that might be more convenient for them, because then they can take it and read it on the train. Where if they know they have their only copy, they might be less likely to take it out of their home.
Yeah,
you know. Like digital is very convenient. So, but I'll do a review for you based off of the digital one, and then when you go live, I'll just buy my copy rather than you shipping it all the way over here.
Or I will send you a copy.
Either or. I would like to buy a copy.
Well, that would be lovely.
I would like to say.
What I might do, I have. Let me send you, because I'll send you the digital one that has gone to the printers.
Okay, perfect.
That has had a few tweaks and stuff like that. So that's the final layout.
Yep, I love it. Yeah, send me that and I will write you a review.
Oh, amazing.
Are you thinking about putting it on Amazon?
I looked into that as an Amazon Kindle, actually. I looked into it as an ebook rather than actually selling on Amazon. The thing that I have undenied about is whether to buy an ISBN number. Do you have an ISBN number on your book? Not the one that you
Yep,
said.
I bought a bundle of 10 of them. Do you want one?
Can I? Aren't you supposed to have it as a publisher? Oh no, I think
no. You can buy them individually because it's self-published.
Don't I have to have a UK one though? I think it's done differently.
Is it differently?
Yeah, you can buy. I can buy 10. So
I'm pretty sure the I in the ISBN is international.
No, that is international, but it's stored. Isn't? I thought it was stored differently. As in,
I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. I'll have to look it up.
Besides, you'll be doing loads more books, so I mean, I can. The thing is, I wasn't going to do the ISBN for these 100 because I was going to sell them myself.
I mean, you don't have to, but then it's actually not considered a book. It's considered a novelty gift.
Oh, so then I do have to. Okay.
So it's the kind of thing that like buying the ISBN also helps to protect it internationally from any kind of copyright infringement. So yeah, so it covers you in other places as well because you have a number connected to it. Which I think is part of the international process. So it's very, very likely that your numbers in the UK are different, that it's like having a like a country code for a phone number.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that as soon as you register it to a book, that it goes on file with all of the countries that participate.
Yes, I'm sure that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, and it becomes an international database. Now, the nice thing about having the ISBN number is that once you assign it to it, because you can go onto the Boker's website that does all of this and keeps track, you can upload the picture of your cover, you can put the date that it was published and everything else, and then you can put the pricing point. And other bookstores, like they usually buy through publishers and have working relationships, but a lot of times too, they'll actually go to the database. So they can say what new coffee table books are in because they need to fill that quota on their shelves or they're running low that year. And your book will come up under those categories. And if it fits in their price point of what they're looking to spend, then they'll see it and go, oh, okay, well, let's pick up 10 of those copies.
Yeah, that is a good point. I'm sure the £1,250 that I said in my quote included registering for an ISBN. And also you can pay £150 and it gives you 10 numbers. So, you know, if I plan to do Hidden Beauty and stuff down the line, then I've already got them. So
which is exactly what I did. Yeah. Which works out well because The Reliquarian's 9 separate books and that's what I have left.
Perfect. How is that coming along, by the way?
Slowly. It's a labor of love, you know. It's all right. It took Louisa May Alcott 10 years to write her book, so I'm not mad. I've got like another 6.5 to go. So
you've written 3.5. You've written 2.5 books already?
No, I have been working on it for over 3 years. So I have another 6.5 years to go.
I see. So have you finished one of them yet?
No.
2, 3.
No.
I feel
it's going, like, you're looking at, like, this is the outline.
Amazing.
All the way across. So as I write them, I take them down. So, like,
wow,
you can sort of see, like, half that row's gone. That's how far I've gotten. So when I get all the way down to this one, all the way back here, then I'll be done. So it's like a writer advent calendar. It's pretty fun.
It's a lot of work, but good. I look forward to
it. So yeah, I think the beginning of October, if you're going on vacation and you're vacationing and not doing much of this and disconnecting.
No, I won't disconnect. I can do it.
Okay, well, I'm fine with both. Like, I do believe very, very sincerely that unplugging, like, mine's like, I need at least like 4 days out of every 90 where I am completely unplugged from everything work related to recover. Otherwise, like, I don't operate at peak capacity, especially because I'm like you and I will just go like to the wall as hard as I can when I'm working. So I burn out. So I need that like recharge. It's like putting the batteries on the charger. So depending on how much you want to do, I mean, if you're working while you're doing this and you're just traveling, that's fine, but be present where you are too. It can wait. Like, waiting another 3 to 6 weeks isn't going to kill you, because this isn't life or death. It's not a deadline for anyone but you.
I suppose I'd put the deadline in that it would go out and be ready for people to give as gifts for Christmas. So that's how I've worked back.
Have you talked to your printer about how long it's going to take them to print it once you put the order in?
Yeah, 6 to 7 days.
Oh, okay. That's way better. I might need to talk to your printer because mine took forever.
Well, let's get the day off first when I get my desk book. But yeah, no, they've been I mean, they do lots of different printing and artist books and corporate things. So it's probably a slightly alternative way of going. It's not like a traditional book printing company, but okay. I really liked what I've seen, and they're a bit unusual. That's what I kind of like. From their work, their portfolio was interesting. So yeah, okay. He's a 6 to 7 day turnaround. So
it's at the printers right now. You already sent it in.
Yeah,
you're getting your test book this week.
Sent it on Tuesday. Paid the invoice. So yeah, I should be getting it by next Friday.
I would say put together the digital version for Kindle.
Yeah.
And I would pick your 3 to 5 A-listers, people whose titles and reputations count, to do the reviews. But then I would also look, if you're putting it on Kindle, then you also want to pick a bunch of other people. I would say probably 10 to 30 that you can send the book out and have them write reviews too, just based off of the digital, so that you have some reviews coming in. If you get the ISBN, then you can sell it on Amazon, whether it's through digital or through an actual book. Because, I never account, people are always prepared to fail. They're afraid of it, but they're prepared to fail. Most people are not prepared to succeed. So if you throw this on Kickstarter and it goes crazy and you wake up in 2 days and there's $200,000 in there for you and 10,000 books ordered, how are you going to get all of those printed out, and how are you going to sign them, and how are you going to get them shipped in time for everybody for Christmas if you're promising that? So prepare for success as well. Okay. Because success kills people more than failure does. A lot of times.
I definitely hadn't thought about it like that. Yeah, definitely.
So it's both. So just, consider those things too. Like, who can you call in that will come help you address all the envelopes, or what kind of company can you look for if you sell it out in a couple of days? And do you have a cutoff? Like, are you going to put how many books? Because if you don't need it and you can give it to the printer after the 30 days is up, how many books can you realistically get out before Christmas? Or, are you going to cut it off at a certain amount? Like, because you can always do a second printing. Yes. So it may be that you sell the 100 books for the first printing, and then that first printing is what will go out before Christmas. However, every book ordered after the second you leave open, and whether that's 120 or, 5,000, that will be available in 2017.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, just to give yourself some leeway. So I would definitely consider that. I would talk to the printer and just ask them what their turnaround time is going to be, if that's going to be affected by how many copies there are. Because maybe every extra 100 books is another day.
Sure.
You know, or 1,000 books is suddenly brings it up to 8 weeks because they got to work off of a different printing press now because it's not a print on demand kind of thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
So I would check with him. I would get the pricing rates down because they usually do them in batches and numbers. So you can't order 102 books. You can order 100 or 150 or 500 kind of thing. So asking and having the quantities and knowing that that's what you have to reach, you know, because that's the thing. Like if it goes from 100 to 500 and they order 250 books, then you're going to have 250 books sitting in your house that you get to sell. And then you will understand my plight.
Yeah.
So those are all good things to look into right now. Yeah. I think putting together a generic outline, your next step would probably be a document that has the list of all of the rewards for people that are donating at different levels. And you want to have at least 1 or 2 in the single digits. So can they donate $1 just because they love you and want to support the project? Can they donate $5 to get, you know, a public thank you on social media and, you know, a single postcard kind of thing? Is that something you want to do? At what point does it make it worth your time to actually send out in the post these kind of things? What's your international policy going to be for shipping the books? And have you looked at pricing? Because to ship my book to you is $39 because of how heavy it is.
Yeah, I did look at that actually, and that's the one thing I was going to say. That £20 that I was going to charge for the book, I hadn't included shipping. But should I just throw the shipping in for free?
Not without knowing how much it's going to cost you. And like, I'm fine with you including it. Like for my 125, I included it.
Yeah.
But then I ended up adding another $20 onto shipping internationally. So shipping's included complimentary in the US because I can ship media rate within the country, and it's only like $5 to $10 to ship the book. But to ship it overseas, no matter what country I've had it ordered from, has been at least $30. So that's $30 profit. So what I don't want you to do is have $10 in cost for the book, sell it for $26, and then it costs you $20 to ship it to me, and then it's actually costing you $4 to send me your book.
I've got all the quotes. I've got all the quotes actually. So in fact, shipping abroad is quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah, then I would have and that's something else that you can offer as an option. So it may be that people that are either in your country or, you know, in your province specifically, if you're paying attention to how far it's going to cost to ship outside of that. For me, it wasn't bad. Like shipping to New York or shipping to California was only like a couple of dollars difference. So it wasn't worth it for me to take the time to really figure it out and price it. So it's in country and out of country. I would say figure out what the most it could cost is, and factor that price in. So maybe what you have is, you know, the book is $26, you know, for anybody within your country, and it's $36 or $46 to ship anywhere else in the world, and shipping's included, you know. So you can have a flat rate like that, or you can just add it on at the end. But I would definitely put in the Kickstarter that that's the price, because people were like, I'm already paying $100 for this book, and now I have to pay an extra $40 for shipping. And they thought that I was kidding on what the ship, like they thought that I was just upping like shipping and handling, like $40 for a book, but it was so heavy because it was such a big book that it just cost an exuberant amount of money. So I would have a basic rate, but if you're going to include it separate, like if you want to keep it at 26 for everyone to buy, then I would just have a note in the thing that's like $26 purchases one of the first 100 signed copies, and then in the notes underneath the thing, you know, $10 shipping anywhere in the UK, you know, $30 to ship internationally kind of thing, or whatever you find the pricing to be.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will do that. I think I'll keep them separate because I know it's about £11 to ship it to the States. So then automatically ends up seeming like it's a lot more expensive. So I think I'll keep the shipping separately, but I will put it in the Kickstarter bit so they can see.
Yeah, because then they'll cover that too. Like Kickstarter will charge them the full amount.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that listed, like you can make the argument after, but what you don't want to have happen is you don't want someone like me to order from the US and agree to fund the project for $30, and then the Kickstarter is successful, and then my credit card gets charged $40 or $50, and me go, I agreed to sponsor it. This is what it is. If you don't have that listed, they have an argument. And what you don't want is you don't want people going to social media and being like, bah, 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 they didn't tell me this. They're trying to charge me double, So just being really straightforward and transparent about that avoids any kind of argument after.
Okay. Yeah. No,
so prize list. Yeah, it never stops. You keep thinking you're getting close to done. That's what I love. You're like, I'm already done.
That's like a whole level of work that I've got to do. But I mean, I'm excited. I love doing it. So,
Yeah. So the book's done. It's at the printers. I would say you want to start looking at people to review now, because they can be sending you reviews while you're doing all this. Maximize the time. So pick a list of people that you want to send it out to that can write you reviews on here. If you have the ISBN number, then you can register it as a book on Amazon and have them write the reviews on Amazon as well, because that's where a lot of other people will find you after the fact.
Okay.
And it's the kind of thing then that, like, having the ISBN number too, other publishers and printers of those books may come to you and ask you for the right to do the second edition. And then they handle it all for you. And selling all those books beforehand, like I had already sold the rights to the book before my copy came out. If I had done it in reverse, I would have sold more copies of my book because it would have been the only version available. And then I could have pushed harder for the argument that it was selling at those rates the way I designed it. So they would have been less likely to change anything. So I would send out the copies, pick the people that I want to have write reviews. And have a deadline on that. Set those goals too. Don't just be like, hey, would you like to review a copy of my book? Like, contact them and go, I would like to send you a copy of the book. And if you could have the review done by, and you pick the date, July 31st, August 15th, whatever it is, so that you have all those written. And ask them to post it wherever you're going to post the book, and then also to send it to you via email, because then you can post those reviews as an update. Like every day that the Kickstarter's there, if you look at Jeremy's, he's updating every day. Your update can be somebody else reviewing the book.
Yeah, good idea.
Which that would be a good giveaway too. Like the people that donate to the book, that you'll send a PDF file to some of them before the Kickstarter's even over, so they can have the first copies or see the first completed editions, and you'll just pick them at random.
I'm just writing all these notes down. Look, I wrote a lot of notes.
That's awesome. I love it.
And then send to Kickstarter. Okay, gosh.
So the reviews, and then I think your pricing platforms on Kickstarter, what they're going to donate and what their reward is for donating at that level.
Yep.
Those are the two big ones that you should be focused on now. And then connecting with your printer and asking how much, the pricing difference and the printing time will be affected if you order more.
Okay.
And what quantities you can order them in, because it might be like 100, 250, 500. And then it might go from 500 to 1,000. So what do you do if you get 600 orders of the books? Yeah. So that way, if you want to cut it off for the first edition, that you're only going to sell a max of 500 books. And then you can take additional orders for the other things. And then I would also, actually, I think that's enough. I think if you did those things, that would be your next level of completion. To get those done, and then we can work on actually getting the page up and ready to go.
Yeah, great. Okay, fab. I'll get to it.
Does that sound like enough to do, or you want me to throw some more assignments at you?
No, because I've also got all these other things that you told me to do, which I will look at the choose which prints that I want to do. You know me, I'm going to do more than I'm supposed to anyway.
Yes. That's okay, because I'll come up with plenty more for you to do in addition to that too.
Yeah, I'm happy. You can pile it on. I work well with kind of targets and being told what to do. So
I think those are all good ones to get done, and then have another hangout just to test par, because part of what I like about what we're doing with you in Sphere 3 is that you don't have like assignment. So we can check and go, okay, now that all this is done, that's going to change these things. So let's make these the priorities, where before they probably wouldn't have been a priority until like the end of the sphere.
Yeah.
So I like being able to check in and work with you a little bit at a time.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that works. I was just thinking, if anyone, this is being recorded, isn't it? So if anyone watches it and they'd like to review it, can they review it?
That's up to you. It's your book.
Okay.
I mean, it's recorded, but it's only in the Arcanum, so you can decide. I mean, you know, it works both ways. If you're just doing it as a Kickstarter with 100 copies, then the reviews are actually almost secondary. Like having a couple of good ones, especially, and you know, again, if people are buying it here, like 100 copies is nothing just with the people in the Arcanum, because it's not at a high price point. Like you selling 100 copies at £26 is much different than me selling 100 copies at $125.
Yeah, sure.
You know, because it's a different price point. Like, so you may sell 100 copies just with people in the Arcanum, because there's, you know, hundreds and hundreds of members.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
So if that's the case and you were marketing primarily to other photographers, then having noted photographers would be good reviews. If it's like gift shop kind of things, then having, you know, people whose names are recognized outside the photography community are good, because you're moving up. So having your yoga instructor recommend it and her having a written review in the book, she'll share with all her students, and that opens you up to that whole domicile where yogis might not have been, you know, on your previous list of radar, and you might not have been on theirs.
Yes.
So it just depends. And what yogis will connect to and get out of it is different than what photographers will connect to and get out of it, and different what architects will. So you have all these different elements. I would definitely put a note in for the signed copies that you can create questionnaires and things in Kickstarter for them to put who they want the book made out to. Like half of my signed copies were gifts, so who bought it was not the name that ended up on the book.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you're thinking of mass producing, especially if you're thinking of going to a publisher, because really this is a great little gift shop book. Yeah. So I could totally see it in bookstores. I could totally see it in a bunch of little yoga studios and meditation areas. Like you have a really big market for who you can market it to. And even some of the places and buildings and things like gift shops and souvenir shops for people that go visit those places, if they're iconic notes, or if they're off the beaten path, you know. Like I'm getting ready to go to Cambodia. Angkor Wat is like the biggest temple there. There's thousands of people that go see it every day. You know, there's hundreds of other little temples that are off the path that, like, you know, like those places like you only know if you know, kind of thing. So even the little places like that, if people could connect, because how many times have you posted an image and somebody's like, wow, where is that? You know?
Yes.
Or you do it on other things, like you see somebody else post an image and you're like, oh, where is that? What country? Where is it? What is the coordinates? You know, having the ability for people to connect and be able to go see those places in person, because that's the whole point, right? With the landscape and the architecture and the kind of things you do, like that's not my genre. So whenever I look at that and I'm looking for what makes it a successful image, it's, do I want to be there?
Yes.
Do I want to stand there and feel what this image is making me feel in person? And the answer is yes. So having people be able to be in your group and have access to this is where you would go makes it almost like a treasure map of locations, or like geotagging. So, you know, there's a lot of different options for products and services within this that'll be very appetizing for people to connect, that actually have nothing to do with the book, or that the book isn't the primary, you know, the primary thing. Which I like the idea of you being sort of like a location photography treasure hunter. I think that suits you very well, actually.
Yeah. I could do that. That means I have to travel more.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea. Like we could get you on Patreon next after Kickstarter, where people would invest monthly in order to have you show them these places and go where they can't go, but also tell them how to get there when they can. So, you know, I think that this is going to be a very good door opening project. I don't think you're going to have a problem selling the 100 copies at all, especially at your price point. Like, you have a quality product below value. You priced it much lower than I was going to price it.
Oh, okay.
But it's still high enough that you're making a profit. And honestly, that's the sweet spot, when they're getting a really good quality item for less than they expect to pay. Supply and demand kicks in and it'll sell off the shelves. So I think it's very, very likely that you're going to order more copies than you think. I think it's very likely that you're going to be able to do second and third printings of it. You know, and I think that it's something that you should consider too, where the price goes up based on the number of books. So when you're down to your last 10, and that's the only way that they can get them, the price goes up.
Okay.
Because supply and demand, you know, so those are all things to think about. So maybe the first 100 copies are at 26, but the next 100 copies go up to 36 or 46. You know, like it can double, which is also a buy it now lever for them to invest now to get it, because essentially it's going to cost them double once the deal is over, once the Kickstarter's done.
That's a good point.
You know, and that's a good indicator. So if you put this Kickstarter up and you sell all 100 copies in the course of like the first 5 days, I would definitely raise the price. That is your public telling you that you priced it too low.
Okay.
So I think that's a lot of information to go off of.
Oh my God, it's so much. I get so excited when I talk to you because there's so much here that I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
I go on schoolgirl. I love it.
So reviews, rewards, those are the two big ones, I think, for the next step to get you set up for the Kickstarter, and then talking to your printer and seeing about time and price differences, depending on how many more you're getting.
Yeah, perfect. Love it.
And then we'll reconvene. And then once you get all those done and up, then let's have another hangout and see what the next steps are. Because I do think that you're getting close to being ready to do the Kickstarter. I think October is a very good time frame.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get them out in time for Christmas. So then I would say that you would have to have all of this done and ready to go. I would like to see you actually set up your Kickstarter page. So have the rewards and everything. Your video is going to be another big one.
Yes.
So I would definitely look at people that would be willing to do video reviews for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
You know, and I would have part of the review process, like writing a review is one thing, but if you have people that aren't naturally writers or bloggers and don't do it, like it might not come as naturally to everyone as it does to me, because I write.
Yeah.
You know, but your yogi might not do it as easily, or your producer, like if that's not what they do or who they are, then it might be hard for them to do that. So I would think of like a review questionnaire, like also like what's your favorite image and what's your favorite quote, you know, like describe it in 3 words so you can just pull the parts that are being said, you know, like so-and-so says it's outstanding and artistic and emotional, and so-and-so says it's impactful, and, you know, like there's still like the reviews, but it takes the pressure off of them to be eloquent with it if they're not naturally. And having people that will look at the book and read it and then do a video review for you, then you can do your whole video review with people that are moved by it. And having people talk about what those quotes or those words are and how it translates to them in a personal level. Like you'll get these heartfelt stories and people, because you'll touch places in them based off of the work and the power of the work and the words. So if, you know, emotion sells 100%. So if you have people talking and they're like emotional and they're talking about how in love they were and how this, you know, and then you have somebody else that's talking about this really difficult thing that they went through, those are all heartstrings. You can take all of them and put them together, and it can just be a series of not just reviews, but personal connection through the art. And that might be your whole video.
I really like that idea. I really like that idea.
Yeah, so it would be really neat. You have 30 images. I would say find 30 people that will do a video review and connect them each with one of the images. Which one connects to you? You could even start a Facebook group rather than sending it to them all individually. Anybody that's interested in doing a review for you, bring them in, load the book in a private group, whether it's on Facebook or Google, that they can do, and let them pick an image that resonates with them and tell their story according to that image, so that you could have how 30 people are interpreted into 30 pages of your book, and then have those reviews be the story.
You're such a genius.
All right, that's all I got for today. I'm spent.
No, that's amazing. You must be exhausted. That's amazing. That's so cool.
So go through that, and then when we sit down to do the next one, I'd like you to actually have all that set up on the Kickstarter page, because you can set up your Kickstarter without going live.
Yeah. Okay.
That way we can screen share, take a look at it, see the price points, and I can give you some good reviews. And then after that, you can literally probably at the end of that hangout, like click go live on the Kickstarter, and then we'll start promoting it for you.
Okay. Amazing.
All right. Yay, I'm excited.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
All right. So now all you have to do is get all of that done in the next like 6 to 8 weeks.
No worries. I'm on it. I start tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'm going to do nothing
Awesome.
else. I'm going to concentrate on this.
I love it.
Perfect.
I love it. Okay. Well, drop me a line and let me know if you need anything in the meantime. Otherwise, I'll plan on talking to you in about like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you then.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye.